Hello everyone! Today I'm going to talk to you about intelligence and look at not if you're smart, but how you may be smart. This is a concept that was introduced to us this week in our lifestyle management and program planning class, and it was actually not the first time I had heard of it. Howard Gardner's theory of multiple intelligences has actually been around since 1983 and was first introduced to me when I was in grade school. Basically, the theory of multiple intelligences suggests that intelligence is not just one general ability, but rather it can be differentiated into different modalities, each that highlight a particular set of skills. When Gardner originally designed the theory, he came up with 8 different intelligences. Number 1, naturalistic or nature smart. This is for individuals who can easily discriminate among living things and have a sensitivity to the natural world. Number 2, musical, rhythmic or music smart. This is for individuals who have the ability to discern between rhythm, pitch, tone, and timbre. Number 3, logical, mathematical, or numbers smart. This would be a person who can calculate, quantify, hypothesize, and easily carry out mathematical operations. Number 4, interpersonal intelligence, or people smart. This would be for people who can very easily understand and interact with other people. Number 5, bodily kinesthetic, or body smart. This would be people who have the capacity to manipulate objects and use a variety of physical skills. Number 6, verbal linguistic or word smart. This is people who have the ability to think in words and can easily express and appreciate complex meaning. Number 7, intrapersonal is self-smart. That is the capacity to understand oneself and then use the knowledge of your feelings and your beliefs and your behaviors to plan your own life. Number 8, visual, spatial, or picture smart. This is when you have the ability to think in 3 dimensions and you also have good graphic and artistic skills as well as mental imagery and spatial sense. Years later, Gardner also did add in a 9th intelligence, and it's called existential intelligence. This would be individuals who have the capacity and the sensitivity to tackle really deep questions like what is the purpose of human existence and how did we get here and why do we die? So as I mentioned before, I was actually introduced to the concept of multiple intelligences back in grade school. My school had a multiple intelligences day where we learned about Gardner's theory and then we were allowed to choose what we believed were our top 3 intelligences and then participate in different activities throughout the day that catered to our particular intelligence or learning style. So at the time I was 10 years old, and so because there was no formal assessment, I just had the free range to pick what I wanted, and so I picked the ones that I thought were cool or popular. So I found myself doing interpersonal because I got to socialize and hang out with my friends. I did bodily kinesthetic because it involved a game of dodgeball, and I did visual spatial because I got to do arts and crafts for the afternoon. Not bad decisions at the time. The one thing that I really didn't want to do was intrapersonal because they marketed that as being the one for shy people who like to be alone and didn't want to interact with anybody, which I thought sounded not cool at all, and I didn't want to be associated with it. However, this week in class at Rhodes, we did do a formal assessment, and it turns out that intrapersonal is my number 1. It actually does make a lot of sense because I do enjoy analyzing myself and reflecting and journaling and trying to figure out what's going on in my head. That is probably why I'm actually at Rhodes, and most of my classmates also did have intrapersonal pretty high on their list. In fact, the types of people who would even care about what type of intelligence they have would most likely be intrapersonal people. And I've always loved taking tests like this, so maybe I was always intrapersonal and I've just been in denial. Either that or I have changed since I was 10 years old, which is of course entirely possible. If you are interested in learning more about Gardner's theory, I've attached some links below, and you can even test your own intelligence to find out what your top ones are. However, keep in mind that Gardner's intention was not to restrict people to one box. He didn't think there was a dominant intelligence. He was just trying to enhance learning by opening doors and showing people that just because they weren't smart in one way, it didn't mean that they were not intelligent, because there is a variety of other skills that people can have natural access to. That's all I have for you today for a little lesson with a touch of insight. I will talk to you next week. I think I'm going to talk a bit about grief and loss with my nice camera back because it's not working this week. Bye.